Welcome! Happy New Year! Welcome to a new episode of Be Fearless podcast. And today, our guest is a very special person. She is an Albanian entrepreneur. She is disrupting everything, all patterns, all businesses out there, you guys, you need to listen to her story. She was a former executive of Fortune 500. She's been featured in Inc. and Entrepreneur magazine, and she is an author, a podcaster, and business strategies. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the one and only Elona Lopari. I hope I didn't butcher your last name because I have that ability.
You shared
Lopari, right?
Lopari. Thank you so much, Dagmar, for that amazing introduction. Big shoes to fill.
Yeah, so welcome to Be Fearless podcast. I love your background, but let's tell our people, our audience out there, who is Elona, right? Elona Lopari, and who was she growing up? What was her dream?
Mm. Well, thank you so much again for having me. So, Elona Lopari, I'm natively Albanian, just like you mentioned, a little small country in Eastern Europe. I came to New York when I was 15 with my parents, migrated here for a better life, one of the oldest kids. Of course, I remember my beginning story with a lot of struggle, I should say, from my on my parents' end, and sort of this dictated journey and path that was kind of handed over to me from you need to obviously they came to this country for better opportunities, so I was always kind of told from my parents that I needed to get educated, get a college degree, and then get a really good job, get married, have my kids, and have a white picket fence home, and that was the American dream. Well, so I followed that path for many years, 13 years actually. I climbed the corporate ladder. I graduated with a business management and finance degree. I got married. I have my two kids. I have my house, but I'm like, wait, there's more. And I started to feel unfulfilled. So I guess on the outside, I was successful, but on the inside, I had a lot of inner work, so to speak, that I had to
Mm-hmm.
take care of. So I started feeling like a lot of conflicts. I started hearing my inner voice telling me that there was more. I mean, what was the purpose of life? I mean, I already had done what I thought I needed to do, and I just I needed something else. Otherwise, why was I waking up in the morning and all of that? So this is where everything sort of lined up. How everything happens for a reason. So things lined up for my company. My latest position, I climbed the ladder: HR, marketing, sales. I did a lot of different positions. I was actually very happy in my corporate career because I was also very entrepreneurial,
Mm-hmm.
um, and successful, again, ambitious, all of that. But the company was purchased by another company. The culture changed, and it turned into a profit-driven culture that we were just seen as a number. I no longer saw a future there. So, of course, this is where I discovered personal development and started making sense of that inner voice that I didn't really know what to really make with. As I started hearing and that was I was meant for something more. I was meant to do
Mm-hmm.
something else. So long story short, entrepreneurship showed up for me. I didn't want to do another 9 to 5 and go through the same, patterns that I was used to. I wanted to try something else, do something new. I knew I had a lot of professional experience. So that's really what I did, is starting my own business, being an entrepreneur. And my vision and mission there was, well, I didn't always know at the beginning. I think that clarifies as you grow through the journey and you evolve with this process. But I just wanted to build my own purpose driven company, and I didn't want to have limits. And money was a big motivator at the beginning. But then I realized that in order to stay fulfilled, you need also the impact part of it. And in order to be a purpose driven entrepreneur, in this journey of entrepreneurship, I had no limits. I could create my own future. So the conflicts that I was feeling in my company, which had a cap, that had a ceiling, I was not going to experience them here. So I did executive coaching for a little bit, then I did career coaching, and I've been positioned as a business strategist for the last 3 years in the business because I've been an entrepreneur for 6 now.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, and now I love helping entrepreneurs do more good in the world through purpose-driven entrepreneurship. And my specific framework is helping them with what I've seen is the fundamentals of any business, which is mindset, branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team. And I also work with corporations, so I kind of have that wide view of how do big brands grow their companies, and also how does a solopreneur or small business grow their company as well, and what are some of the common patterns that keep telling.
That is fantastic, let me tell you. I love all that you are doing and you have done. And you're clearly an example of changing patterns because you definitely turn your life around in order to serve other people, and that's remarkable. What are like the top three things you think that business owners today, especially in the economy that we are found ourselves, um, what are the top three things that business owners will have to do in order to break the patterns that they are finding themselves in right now that are not serving them in any way to grow their business?
Mm. Well, the big one, which is what I talk about in building a legacy business, is mindset. Being in this for the long term. That is a big thing. Because in the journey, many times I could share my employee mindset versus entrepreneur mindset. You get paid for your work. It's different, right? You whatever you put in, you sort of get back as far as income is concerned. But when you're an entrepreneur and you're building for the long term, sometimes what you're doing now will maybe translate into an ROI a couple of months down the line or even years down the line. So having a long-term mindset, being in this long game, and seeing this as a journey personally has helped me stick through the ups and downs and the emotional roller coaster that can get involved, that you can experience in this very emotional journey. So I would say mindset is big. Learning how to really, understand your own emotions and how you are affected, and the things that are blocking you from the future you want to create, and from the vision and mission that you have, I would say is number one. The second thing is adaptability. I think adaptability in entrepreneurship is really, really important. Really being so much in fine tune with the people you're serving. And how is it that you can find gaps in the market that you can fill, right? Because you do need to position yourself differently. You do need to innovate. And a lot of times, maybe that could scare us because it's like, well, I don't know what else I could bring to the table. I had a lot of that at the beginning. I'm like, there's other coaches, there's other people doing what I do. I don't know what makes me different and all of that. But just really understand that besides your authentic personality, energy, experience, everybody has that. That's unique. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the other side of the market, where whatever industry you're in, whatever service you have to offer, because I focus mostly on service providers, there is always a gap. There's always a thing that you could tweak, but maybe sometimes it's this very small tweak and you know how to articulate it, which is the most important part too, because it's not just enough to kind of do it differently, but you have to articulate how are you doing it differently from someone else similarly offering the same service that you have to offer, and finding that gap and constantly innovating, constantly not being afraid to test. Entrepreneurship is a big testing lab. if you know
Yeah.
if you're if I don't know, I wish I didn't do science, but I love neuroscience today. But I'm like, there's certain things that I wish I knew before, and now I know just being in this journey. But action is your friend. Right?
Yes.
Action. You got to take a lot of action. You got to test a lot of things. Don't be afraid to just take action and put yourself out there and put your ideas out there, or even these small things that you think you do differently from other people.
Mhm.
And then through that process, you just kind of process improve.
Yes.
improve, small process improvements until you find, the thing that works and you run with that, right? And then you already have something that works and you just repeat it, rinse and repeat once you have something solid, right? And then I find that this whole journey is a bunch of projects that we're moving forward. So kind of just, understanding the base and the foundation of what you need in the business, and then the other parts, kind of just putting yourself out there and taking action, and learning it fast. Sometimes I'm like, I want to take action just so I know already like how it's going to translate, and then I can move
Mm-hmm.
forward and do what I need to do. Because then you don't want to stay stuck by, and a lot of entrepreneurs have this at the
And
beginning.
I love that you mentioned taking action because what I have found as a coach with my clients is that they stay in that stage of activism. They're thinking, they're active thinkers in their plan, and they have this huge vision, but they just stay there and there's no action. And that's the worst thing. And then they expect that something magically is going to happen with their business, with their lives, with their goals. And the key is that you can think or be actively thinking about whatever or planning big plans. But if you don't take action, even a small step today, don't expect anything to change tomorrow, right? And I think that has to be because sometimes they get stuck in certain obstacles. What are two things that you will recommend to our audience today that they can start doing today in order to overcome their obstacles?
Mm. First one is what I experienced, perfectionism, because I was praised being a high achiever. I was praised for my achievements, right? So I had to do a lot of work into that. So now I happily achieve. I'm fulfilled by my achievements, but that had to be, there was a process of healing there. Let's just say.
Uh-huh.
So I would say perfectionism is one, right? There's no perfect thing. That's why I said everything is a test. So in order for you to find out what you need to do, you just take messy action in the beginning and then tweak the process, moving forward. And I promise you, you'll come to the other side where you will find more security and confidence in what you're doing. But unless you take that messy action at the beginning, you just don't even have a chance to get on the other side. So perfectionism would be one of them. And the other one would, maybe be imposter syndrome, depending on what your phase and stage that you are in. And this is your friend. This happens all the time. No matter what
Mhm.
level and devil of business you go into, you're always gonna, feel like you're an imposter, like a fake, like who
Uh-huh.
do business.
It does happen a lot.
So I would say those are, two of the big ones that I would share with your audience. And fear, fear of failure. And the way that I kind of help myself through that, it's like everything is learning. I learned something, and it just made me stronger and better for the next decision I need to make. So looking at things as that, it just without letting you stop them, letting them stop you, I should say. Don't be attached to the result. Just be attached to action. Don't be attached to the result. Like I had to learn that the hard way. Don't be attached to the result. Just take a lot of action, and then through there, your vision is going to start to clarify and expand. I promise
I
you.
love it. I love it. Thank you so much for those tips. I love everything, but I love that you wrote a new book. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's my newest baby. As I said, everything is a project in our journey and in living and fulfilling our mission. Is called Purpose Driven Entrepreneurship. I said, okay, what a book is a great legacy product, and I love kind of leaving my knowledge and experience in different forms, right? Whether it's content or whatever. So what I did here with this book is I put together my experience and my framework, and again, working with entrepreneurs scaling to seven figures and also corporations, which are Fortune 500. So just looking at the common denominators between both journeys, I wrote a book on the same thing. So they'll find it's a very easy, consumable, I guess, type of content in a book format. So they'll find seven chapters really on mindset, branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team. And I also have a chapter on my journey, just the kind of entrepreneurship journey, which I think will serve the reader. or they might find themselves within that, within what I had to overcome and come through, at least so far where I am in the phases stage of my journey in business, right? Because I'm
Mhm.
sure that book writing is in my future. I love doing it so much because it's like, again, it's something that is tangible, it's something that makes an impact and people can read it. It moves beyond me. So that was the reason behind purpose-driven entrepreneurship. And the reason I love the word purpose is because everything we do should be intentional and on purpose. And when you live and work on purpose, then your business and your life is like one thing. It just like
Yes.
you work, it turns into your mission. And that is the mindset to build anything legacy. Otherwise, you just can't survive through the right. If you just think of it as very short term, or a business is just going to fulfill your financial needs, I don't think that's enough to keep going in this thing.
And I totally agree. I love it. Where people can get a copy of your book?
It's on Amazon, and also my link tree. I think you share that with your
Yes, it's
audience.
on
So
the description.
Amazon. I wrote a couple of other books, so if they search Elona Lopari on Amazon, they'll see some of my products.
That was my next comment, is that this is not your first, it's your third book and is a bestseller in Amazon. So you guys, you have to go and check her out and buy her book. But you're also a podcaster. Tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. And the one thing I want to say about my book,
Mm-hmm.
or the book, is that I promise them that they'll have all the foundational pieces that they need to grow any business. So by investing time to read it and get this information, they will have the big picture view, because I'm a visionary. Like, I'm a big picture person. That's what I've discovered learning myself and growing through the journey. So my biggest thing is like, how do I connect the dots for people?
Mm-hmm.
So how do I connect it all? So they have the big vision, they have the thing that they need, like sort of a big roadmap. And then of course they have to do their part to, fill in the
Is
gaps for
take
them.
action, right? They have to take action.
Exactly. So my podcast is another amazing product I love, because I started learning through podcasting and going through this venture of entrepreneurship. So it's kind of bringing it back to my beginnings and how I consume content that's very intimate, right in your ear. I'm very auditory myself, but the whole platform is called the Life School Masterclass Show. It's my attempt, besides solo episodes, is to bring other amazing experts where we just, every conversation we have, there are aha moments that we walk away from, and every conversation is a masterclass. And people will not only get gems and valuable information when it comes to building a life and business on purpose, and a legacy life and business, but also have content that is consumable, fast action takers, because I'm also very practical as a person. So I love myself like a good, like, tell me what to do, sort of thing that I can implement. But so much more inspiration and education is really what I always attempt to do with my content everywhere that I kind of, show up and to serve. So that's what they'll find in the podcast. It's available anywhere podcasts are available.
I love it. And thank you so much for sharing your story today, because I found you definitely being an example, number one, of success, number two, of what means to disrupt every old pattern that we have in our lives. And I love how you are working with other people and helping people to do that transformation, to change, right? To take action. Um, Before we leave today, what would you tell audience that how can they start making an impact in their life, and how can you be involved in their lives
Hmm.
besides the book and the podcast?
So I offer obviously my private and also group cohort offers that I have to help them grow a legacy life and business. I always find that they come for business growth most of the time, but I've realized that there's a lot of personal growth that we also have to do, right? Because I always say we think we grow the business, but our business grows us. So a lot of that happens there as well. But if as far as how can they start to make the impact they're looking for, I always say starts with clarity. So they need to clarify, what is it that they're looking to accomplish and how did they design their life on purpose. So getting that clarity on their values, what's important to them. I had to do a lot of that work, back to disrupting old patterns, because there's a lot of patterns and programming that was not necessarily mine. And I was just like, and I still, keep an eye out. Awareness never stops in business. I almost was going to title my book Conscious Entrepreneurship, because I find that the bigger game you play, the more legacy you want to build, the more awareness you need to have. So it's just kind of, it just has to, you have to keep evolving and expanding with the business. So I would say though that would be an advice that I will have them share with them. Find what they're looking for, have that clarity at the beginning, for that vision and mission. And they don't always have to know, because sometimes this big word vision mission scares people. It's like it's too big, I don't know. Just start with the next step, that's it, and everything will clarify on the journey. But of course, I believe in mentorship. I love, saving time and money. If there's someone that has already been there, done that, and you've never been through this before, like, why not invest in their experience?
Mm-hmm.
Why we have this whole industry. And I'm always doing the same thing myself, because I realize that I can always make money, but my time is not, it's flying, right? I only have a certain amount of time. And the more you kind of work on purpose, the more you really realize that there's a lot you want to do, but you don't necessarily might not have the physical time
Exactly.
to get it all done, right? So you do need to be smart about your investments and really, see who is it that has been there, done that, has a framework. Don't expect magical results. Don't expect anyone to do the work for you. But of course, the guidance and the mentorship of someone that's been there, done that, to keep you focused. I find focus in business is crucial. That's number one thing I'm so proud of doing for my client, to keep them focused on the right priorities and are moving their vision mission forward. Because I find right now that's a big thing for people. Not just, I think, business, also personal life, right? Because we have so many choices. So in order to
Exactly.
make any progress anywhere, we have to stay focused.
That's
Um,
right.
so I think that's the value of any mentor, not just business.
I love it. And I agree with you. I mean, number one, investing in yourself, that should be your number one priority in any case, because I think everybody needs a coach for everything. Um, I have coaches at the stage where I am with business entrepreneurship. I have my own coaches. As also my coaches have their coaches. Like, this is a chain of no. Uh, share knowledge, right? And when you dive into and invest in yourself, in developing yourself, um, you not only grow as a person, but you also, everything around you develops. Your business, your personal relationships, your communications, everything changes. And I'm so huge advocate for coaching, that I love it. And I love to bring coaches like you to speak into the podcast and share their stories, so people see the value of what it means to invest in yourself. And the other two things that you have mentioned throughout this interview is the word legacy and purpose. Before we go today, I want the audience to have this clear: why legacy and having purpose is important in their lives.
Mm. So for me, I'll just share kind of what it means to me, and then see if people have it resonate, because everyone resonates and it means something different to everyone. And I think that's really very healthy. The more you know what it means to you, the better it is, right? Don't take someone else's definition for it. But for me, legacy means that I am in this planet because I'm meant to make a difference through my life experience. So if I don't share that with other people, no matter what I learn, then it's a waste of not only my own potential, first of all, but also the impact that I could be making by sharing it. So for me, it's that kind of legacy means giving back what I already know, right? Because I just never know who I can impact through my work, through just a word I could be saying, just a story I could be sharing, right? So for me, that's what legacy means. And it's a ever life evolving process because we're always learning, growing, maturing, raising our level of consciousness and all of that. So I will always keep sharing. I just found entrepreneurship as a way to channel all of that. So that's what legacy means to me. And then purpose means for me to do meaningful work. When I left corporate, I said I'm no longer. I already had, the. I guess I had my needs met through the financial part, and I realized that that happiness was not going to sustain me, and I was looking for something more. So now I understand through the process of personal development that the only way I'm going to be happy and fulfilled spiritually, and my soul's going to be happy, is if I grow and contribute. So my number one value for entrepreneurship is personal growth and then the impact I get to make, because I know I'm going to, by default, I'm always going to grow. So that's going to keep me happy. And then, of course, that is going to just trickle down to other people. And then contribution. I mean, I have really tasted no bigger happiness than just helping someone else.
Exactly.
So, if you could just put the two together, purpose to me means waking up every day knowing that what you do matters.
Exactly.
What you do matters. It's meaningful to someone, even one person. Some days that's good enough. That's perfect.
I always say that, and I have been mentioning the same thing for the last 2 years, because it kind of like a couple of years ago, I had that breakthrough, like in my mind. I was like, you know what? I was so focused on the amount of people. And in reality, what it really matters is if you are able to change one person's life. If you are able to change one life, you're already making a huge impact in the world. So, I mean, just making one person, influencing one individual, you already have fulfilled half of your purpose and won 50% of your battle, right? uh,
Quality over quantity, especially when it
yeah,
comes to relationships. Quality over quantity, and you expand as you grow. The more you grow, the more your business expands. It's
that's
just like a
right.
byproduct. So you start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. That's how we
Hmm.
do it. So don't feel bad. Don't compare. Sometimes it gets so easy. It's so easy today with like likes and like views and
Yes.
following.
Oh, yes.
It's like you tie, sometimes some of us might tie their worth on like their all of that, those superficial metrics. But just remember that a lot of times what I realized that the people that you're helping the most are the ones that you don't even hear about
Yeah,
until who knows how long they have enough courage or trust with you to kind of tell you that
exactly.
you impacted me.
I
So
agree.
like, work hard and show up for all of that. I'm not saying that you should not be intentionally growing your influence. I think that's really important, and I see
Hmm.
that as just expand your network and invest in human capital. I always talk about how we think we're coaches, service providers, whatever, right? We've chosen as our legacy, but we're in a people business. We're in a people business. So everything is about the human relationships, and investing in the bank or putting in a return on that investment. Is we're not really used to seeing it that way. We're always used to seeing it in money, dollars, and all of that. But that's just a byproduct of just impacting and helping people.
I
So
agree. Well, thank you for your time, for being here with us today and sharing your story, sharing your wisdom with us, and how people can get connected to you. I know I have mentioned before that her link is in the description of this podcast, but what is through all the links, because you have a lot of material there, what is the best way to reach out to you through the links?
yeah, Dagmar, I really appreciate you holding space for me today, and I really hope what I shared was really valuable to your audience as well. I always say that the best way, I love community. I'm a big community builder. So the best place for people to find me, besides everywhere else that I have built resources for people, is through my Facebook group. It's called Life School Elona Lopari.
There you have it, you guys. Yeah, now you know where to connect with Elona and go to Amazon. Like after we're done here, you have to go to Amazon and grab her book. Can you show the book again for the audience?
So just search Purpose Driven Entrepreneurship Elona Lopari, and they'll find me there.
I love it. Thank you so much, Alana. I really appreciate your time. And you guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. This is the podcast has been on for 3 years, and I don't have enough words to express my gratitude for supporting me and making the podcast one of your favorites. And it's right now it's been listening in Germany. I have people in Mexico, in all United States, Puerto Rico, um, so Australia. So thank you so much for all your words of encouragement and for following and liking my this podcast content. In the meantime, don't forget, until next one, don't forget to unlock your potential and be fearless. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.